Someone is holding back a message that could change the emotional direction between you two, but their silence is not emptiness, it is pressure building beneath the surface. By the end of this speech, you will understand why their message feels urgent, why they have not said it yet, and what your soul already senses before your mind can explain it. Have you ever felt someone thinking about you so strongly that your mood shifted for no clear reason? That is not always imagination. Sometimes the unconscious speaks before the person does. If this message feels like it is speaking directly to your situation, stay until the end, because the final part will reveal what their silence is truly asking from you. Their silence is not peace, it is emotional overload. This is the first thing you must understand. When someone truly has something important to say but keeps holding it inside, the silence does not stay empty, it becomes heavier. It starts pressing against their chest, their thoughts, their sleep, and even the way they move through the day. They may look normal from the outside. They may laugh, work, talk to others, post online, and act as if nothing is happening. But beneath that surface, something unresolved keeps returning to them, and that unresolved feeling is connected to you. They are not quiet because they feel nothing. They are quiet because they feel too much and do not know how to carry it without exposing themselves. This is where the inner conflict begins. One part of them wants to reach out, speak honestly, and release the weight. Another part is afraid of what will happen after the truth is spoken. Will you reject them? Will you question them? Will they have to admit they were wrong? Will they have to face the pain they caused? These questions keep them frozen. But frozen does not mean indifferent. In fact, it often means the opposite. Their emotions are moving underneath, but their actions are delayed. That is why you may feel their energy without seeing clear movement. They think of you at unexpected moments. A song, a place, a memory, a small detail pulls them back into the connection. Then they push it away, only for it to return stronger. This emotional overload becomes urgent because the longer they stay silent, the more unstable their inner world becomes. They cannot keep pretending forever. At some point, the truth demands a voice. They want to speak, but they fear the consequences of honesty. This is where their silence becomes complicated. It is not that they do not know what they feel. Deep down, they know more than they are willing to admit. The problem is that honesty would force them to step out of the safe place of pretending. As long as they stay silent, they can hide behind distance, pride, timing, excuses, or confusion. But the moment they speak the truth, everything becomes real. They may want to tell you they miss you. They may want to admit that they think about you more than they show. They may want to confess that they acted carelessly, withdrew too quickly, or failed to value the connection when it was in front of them. But saying this means they must face your reaction, and that frightens them. They are not only afraid of rejection, they are afraid of accountability. They are afraid you may ask, "Why did you hurt me then?" Or "Why did you wait so long?" These questions would strip away their defenses, so they delay. They rehearse the message in their mind, then erase it. They type something, then delete it. They imagine reaching out, then convince themselves it is better not to disturb your peace. But often that excuse is only fear wearing a noble mask. They tell themselves they are protecting you, when in truth they are protecting themselves from emotional exposure. The message cannot wait because suppressed truth does not disappear, it grows sharper. Every day they remain silent, the gap between what they feel and what they show becomes harder to carry. Their heart is pushing them toward honesty, but their fear is still standing at the door. Your absence has awakened something in them, and this is often the part they never expected. When you were present, they may have taken your energy for granted. Your care, your attention, your patience, your emotional availability, all of it may have felt normal to them because it was always there. People often fail to recognize the value of a connection while it is still close enough to touch. They only begin to understand its weight when distance removes the comfort they were unconsciously depending on. Now your absence has become a mirror. It is showing them what they avoided seeing before. They may remember the way you understood them without needing long explanations. They may remember how your presence softened their day, how your voice calmed something inside them, how your loyalty gave them a sense of safety. But now, instead of feeling that safety directly, they are left with the memory of it. And memory can become powerful when it arrives too late. This is why they may suddenly feel restless. They are not only missing you, they are meeting the version of themselves that existed around you. They are realizing that the connection was not ordinary, and that realization can be uncomfortable. It forces them to ask difficult questions. Why did they pull away? Why did they stay silent? Why did they not protect what they secretly valued? Your absence has also disturbed their control. When they believed you would always be there, they could delay, avoid, or act uncertain. But when your energy is no longer easily available, the emotional balance changes. They begin to feel the space you left behind. And that space speaks louder than your presence ever did. The message cannot wait because absence has done what words could not do. It has made them feel the truth instead of simply thinking about it. They feel time slipping, and that is why the message has become urgent. At first, they may have believed silence was safe. They may have thought they had time to figure things out, time to return when they were ready, time to explain themselves later. But time does not wait for someone who keeps avoiding truth. While they were delaying, you were changing, you were healing, you were learning to live without the version of them you once needed. And now, somewhere inside them, they can feel that shift. This is what frightens them most. Not just losing contact, but losing access to the part of you that once cared deeply. They may sense that your energy is no longer reaching for them in the same way. Your silence may feel different now. Before, your silence may have been pain. Now, it may be peace. Before, you may have been waiting. Now, you may be choosing yourself. That difference creates pressure inside them because it tells them the emotional door may not stay open forever. They know that if they wait too long, their message may arrive in a world where you no longer need it. They may finally say the words you once hoped to hear, but those words may no longer carry the same power. This is why the urgency grows. They are not only fighting their fear of speaking, they are fighting the fear that your heart is moving beyond their reach. Time has a strange way of revealing what people thought they could ignore. The more days pass, the more they realize that silence is not neutral. Silence can become a decision. Silence can become a goodbye. And now they feel the weight of every moment they wasted pretending they had more time. Their ego is fighting their heart, and this is the real reason their energy feels so confusing. One moment they may feel pulled toward you with intensity. The next moment they may withdraw, act distant, or convince themselves they should stay silent. This is not always because their feelings are weak. Sometimes it is because their pride is louder than their courage. Their heart knows what it wants, but their ego is terrified of appearing vulnerable, needy, or wrong. The heart wants connection. The ego wants control. The heart remembers what was real. The ego remembers how much it might lose if it admits the truth. So they stand in the middle, divided between reaching out and protecting their image. This is why they may watch from a distance, check on you indirectly, think about messaging you, but still stop themselves. They are not only deciding whether to speak to you, they are deciding whether they are ready to surrender the version of themselves that pretended not to care. Their ego may whisper, "Do not message first." Their heart may answer, "But you miss them." Their ego may say, "They might reject you." Their heart may say, "At least be honest." Their ego may say, "Stay strong." But the heart knows that silence is not strength when it is only fear in disguise. This inner battle can make them behave inconsistently because they are not fully aligned inside themselves. You may feel this push and pull without understanding it. One day their energy feels close, the next day it feels blocked. That is because they are wrestling with themselves before they can face you. The message cannot wait because the heart is becoming harder to silence. Pride can delay truth, but it cannot destroy it. Eventually, what they feel will demand more honesty than their ego is comfortable giving. They may send a small message first to test the emotional door, and this is something you should not ignore. When a person is carrying a deeper truth but is afraid to reveal it fully, they rarely begin with the whole confession. They begin with something safer. A simple, "How are you?" A reaction to your story, a casual question, a memory, or even a message that looks ordinary on the surface. But underneath that small message, there may be a much heavier emotional meaning. This happens because they are trying to measure your energy before they expose their heart. They want to know whether you are still open, still soft toward them, still willing to respond. They may not be ready to say, "I miss you," so they say something indirect. They may not be ready to say, "I regret how I treated you," so they find a reason to start a conversation. This does not always mean they are playing games. Sometimes it means they are emotionally nervous and trying to protect themselves from rejection. But you must be careful here. A small message can be a doorway, but it can also be a test. Do not rush to give them full emotional access just because they knocked gently. Let them show whether they came with maturity or just loneliness. Let the conversation breathe. Listen to what they say, but also watch what they avoid. If they keep everything shallow, they may still be hiding behind fear. If they slowly become honest, then the real message is beginning to rise. Their first words may not satisfy you because they may not carry the depth you expected. But sometimes people who are emotionally overwhelmed approach truth in fragments. They reveal one piece, then another. They step closer, then pause. What matters is whether each step brings more clarity, more honesty, and more responsibility. A message that starts small can become important, but only if it moves beyond testing and becomes truth. You must listen without losing your self-respect, because this is where many people make the mistake of confusing emotion with transformation. When someone finally reaches out after silence, distance, or confusion, it can awaken everything you tried to calm inside yourself. A single message can pull you back into hope. A simple apology can make you remember the good moments. A soft tone can make you believe that maybe this time will be different. But you have to be careful. Feeling moved by their words does not mean you should immediately reopen every door. Their message may be honest, but honesty is only the beginning. It is not enough for them to say they miss you. It is not enough for them to say they were thinking about you. It is not enough for them to admit they made a mistake. These words matter, but they must be followed by behavior that proves growth. Otherwise, you may end up giving your heart back to someone who only came because they were lonely, not because they were ready. Listening without losing self-respect means you do not punish them, but you also do not abandon yourself. You can hear them, you can understand them, you can allow them to speak, but you should not rush to comfort them for the pain they created. You should not make their guilt easier by pretending everything is fine. If they hurt you, avoided you, confused you, or made you question your worth, then their return must come with responsibility, not just emotion. This is the moment where your strength matters. Stay open, but stay awake. Do not become cold, but do not become careless. Let their message enter your ears before you allow it back into your heart. Watch whether they are willing to be consistent, patient, and respectful. Words can open a conversation, but only actions can rebuild trust. The real message is not just, "I miss you." It is much deeper than that. Missing someone can happen when the night is quiet, when loneliness rises, or when memory becomes stronger than pride. But this message carries something heavier. It is not only about absence, it is about recognition. They are beginning to understand what your presence truly meant, and that understanding may be arriving later than it should have. They may have missed you before, but now they are seeing you differently. They are remembering not only the emotional comfort you gave them, but also the way you showed up, the way you cared, the way you tried, and the way you held space for them, even when they were difficult to understand. This realization can shake a person because it forces them to face the truth they avoided. They did not simply lose attention, they may have lost someone who genuinely saw them. The message inside them may sound like, I understand now. I understand why you were hurt. I understand why you pulled back. I understand why my silence damaged something. I understand that your love was not weakness. I understand that your patience was not something I should have tested. This is the part their soul is struggling to carry because it requires humility. It requires them to admit that they may have misread you, mishandled you, or underestimated the connection. But again, do not romanticize recognition too quickly. Some people realize your worth only when access is gone. That does not automatically mean they are ready to love you properly. The real question is whether this understanding has changed them or whether it has only scared them. Because fear of losing you may bring them back, but only maturity can make them stay correctly. Their urgent message matters, but their growth will matter more. In the end, this message from your person is not just about words. It is about the truth that has been building inside them while silence stood between you. They may have tried to hide it, delay it, or bury it beneath pride, fear, and distance, but what is real does not disappear just because someone refuses to speak. It returns through memories, it returns through restlessness, it returns through the strange weight of absence. And now, that weight has become too loud for them to ignore. They are beginning to understand something they may not have understood when you were still close. Your presence was not ordinary. Your patience was not weakness. Your love was not something to be tested endlessly. The connection carried meaning, and now that meaning is pressing against their heart with urgency. That is why the message cannot wait. Not because it is perfect, not because it will fix everything instantly, but because truth has reached the point where silence can no longer protect them. Still, you must remain awake. Do not confuse a message with transformation. Do not let one emotional confession erase everything you had to survive. Listen with compassion, but stand in your dignity. Let them speak, but also let them prove, because love that returns without responsibility is only a repeat of the same wound. So when this message comes, receive it calmly. Do not chase it, do not fear it, do not build your whole future around it too quickly. Let the truth reveal itself through time, consistency, and action. What is meant for you will not need to destroy your peace to reach you. And what is truly awakened in them will not only speak your name, it will learn how to honor your heart.